All right, it's talk time now. There are reports that the EFCC is trailing a total of 172 billion naira linked to some senators who were former governors. Apart from this, there are also reports that the presidency may have ordered the EFCC to investigate the financial activities of some former governors who were in office between 1999 to 2015.
Though this report is yet to be authenticated by the EFCC, some analysts believe the planned trial may have been stalled. We have joining us right now in the studio a barrister Ademola Ekundayo. Many thanks for your time and joining us today on TVC Breakfast, but also via Skype is a lawyer, Ahmed Abbas. Hello, good morning. Thanks for joining us. Good to see you. Hi. All right. Okay, yes. Abbas, let's start with you. What do you make of this stalled trial?
Stalled trial? Hello?
Yes.
Go ahead, we can hear you.
You come again with your question, please.
What do you make of the stalled trial? The trial is, well, there were reports that the trial will go on, but we've not heard much about it.
Thank you. To me, I do not know why the trial has been stalled. On one platform, I said probably they are trying to do their homework very well, gather their evidence before going to court. So as for now, we may not be in a position to say whether they will go on with the trial or not. I would say let us wait and see what will happen.
All right, Ademola, let me come to you on this. When it comes to trying former chief executives, we know we have already known in this country how powerful the governors are. Now they have become senators who are lawmakers, at least many of them. How challenging or how difficult would it be to really see to conclusion economic trial against these people?
I don't think it's difficult if we have the will to go ahead and try them. I think we are lacking that will. We might be talking about change or curbing corruption. I think we are still lacking that will. What we are doing basically now is conducting a trial on the page of newspaper, on TV.
But you know there are some governors, ex-governors, who had been on trials and they've not been perhaps convicted or freed because of lack of evidence. That's what Abbas was alluding to earlier.
From EFCC,
yes.
They need to do their own work very well. Our investigation is lacking luster. They are not serious, with due respect. If you are serious, you invited a person, 2 hours after his statement is appearing on Twitter, appearing on Facebook and everywhere. That is not to investigate. You are simply giving hints to all his collaborators to go and hide their loot, to hide the fact, to hide evidence. We are not serious. I think most of us keep on blaming judiciary. No, the buck starts from the investigator's table. Do your investigation very well. I can assure you it will be difficult for them not to be convicted. It will be difficult. I practice. I'm in court regularly. I know what happened. You rush to court to prosecute somebody. You don't have enough evidence. You transfer IPO to Maiduguri, say you cannot come and give evidence. I mean, that should not be happening. You keep on changing, like in Lagos State now. They've just changed the old judges, those in the Ikeja, back to Lagos. Once you have a new CJ, you keep on reshuffling. If you start trial, you may carry the file. If you don't, you leave it. Another judge will take over.
Yeah, but when it comes to these corruption cases, when they finger the lawyers and the bench, when it comes to interlocutory injunctions and perpetual injunctions, when it comes to investigation of this matter, are you not culpable then?
We are all involved, honestly. I will not exonerate any of us, either the judiciary, either the bench or the bar, or even police or EFCC. We are part of these problems.
Okay.
I think we need to do our own work very well.
All right. We'll come to you, Ademola. And Abbas is still there. We'll come to you shortly. Now, let's read out some information in here concerning the ex-governors that we are trying to dwell on today. Now, a lot of Nigerians would certainly like to know this. That more than 15 ex-governors who are now in the Senate have cases of corruption ranging from misappropriation of public funds to money laundering hanging over their heads. Now, others have been in the Senate before the inauguration of the 8th National Assembly by President Buhari.
The Economic and Financial Crimes Commission, EFCC, says it has about 43 high-profile corruption cases filed between 2007 and 2015 that are still pending in various courts. 16 of those cases involve ex-governors. Senate President Bukola Saraki, who is a former governor of Kwara State, Godswill Akpabio, a former governor of Akwa Ibom State, Senator Ali Modu Sheri, former governor of Borno State, who is also embroiled in the PDP crisis, are all on the list. Some of the pending high-profile cases are those preferred against ex-governors Danjuma Goje of Gombe State, Jolly Nyame of Taraba State, Joshua Dari of Plateau State, Oji Uzo Kalu Abia, Saminu Turaki of Jigawa State, Timepri Silva Bayelsa, Mritala Nyako Adamawa, Sule Lamido Jigawa, Adebayo Alawa Kala, Oyo State, Rashidi Ladoja, Oyo State.
Now, there's Chimaroke Namani of Enugu State is also there. Aliyu Akwe-Doma of Nasarawa State is there. Atahiru Bafarawa of Sokoto State. Martin Elechi of Ebonyi State. Ikedio Hakim of Imo State. Obong Victor Atta of Akwa Ibom State. Achike Odenwa of Imo State. And Abdullahi Adamu of Nasarawa State. Other names on the list also include Benga Daniels of Ogun State. Boni Haruna of Adamawa State. George Akume of Benue State. Usman Dakingeri of Kebbi State, Adamu Muazu of Bauchi State, Peter Odili, River State, and Lucky Benedion of Edo State.
The immunity clause in Nigeria's constitution, that's Section 308, protects the president, vice president, governors, and their deputies from prosecution while in office. But even after these public office holders leave office, findings show the anti-graft agencies, including the EFCC, have failed to pursue their cases to logical conclusions. That's the big question.
All right, let me bring in Abbas in here. Now, Ahmed, I was asking you a question earlier on. When it comes to high-profile cases in Nigeria, sometimes it becomes really very difficult to pursue the cases to a logical conclusion. We have some of these cases we just mentioned now running into 5, 6, 7 years and still pending, where no mention is made anymore. Why is it so difficult to handle such profile cases in Nigeria as it were?
Just like, let me be very categorical and the honest truth is that there are members of the bar, especially the senior advocates, that are beneficiaries of this corrupt system. I'm not saying the EFCC, they are 100% efficient. They try their best. But we have lawyers whose aim and objective is to bog down the entire trial process. When you say high-profile cases, most of these high-profile cases are handled by our senior advocates of Nigeria, except we want to deceive ourselves. They are beneficiaries, and if you even say judges are corrupt, I can tell you categorically, a judge cannot receive any bribe without the assistance of a lawyer, because no defendant in any matter can approach a judge to offer him or her a bribe. So you have senior advocates or senior members of the bar who are bridges. They are simply manipulating the system. And some of the judges also are not courageous enough to simply stand their ground and insist that things should be done properly in their court. Some of them are so weak, they lack the courage, or they were not even competent in the first instance before being appointed as judges. And so when their courts are turned to Nollywood centers, they do not have the courage to call the lawyers to order. They call them lords. Executives, we call them the excellencies. The legislatures, we call them the honorables. But the judges, we call them my lord. Some of them are not exercising their lordship in their courts. Because if you meet a very sound, intelligent judge with integrity, they can actually checkmate some of the frivolities of these senior members of the bars who are beneficiaries of this bankrupt system. We must tell ourselves the truth. Some of them are aiding this corruption because they are even custodian of looted funds. I'm not saying all. Some of them, the same way you have in the judiciary, very decent men and women of integrity, you also have in the bar people who are not interested in the welfare of this nation. They are only interested in their private pocket, and that's why they exploit the loophole in the system and bog down the trial I mean, interlocutory injunction applications will go on endlessly. The matter will be in court for over 10 years. I mean, we must call ourselves to order. Maybe by the time they send maybe 2, 3, 4 senior advocates to the prison, everybody will sit up tight because the nation is sick. We must tell ourselves the truth. Everywhere you turn to, there's corruption everywhere. Like I said, every industry. We know each other very well. My brother seated there will tell you point blank. We know chambers that do not rely on their left.
Okay, Abbas, is it just the case of the corrupt bench and the corrupt bar? Ademola earlier said the issue also lies with the EFCC, the shoddy way they conduct their investigation, and the similar lack of admissible evidence that can convict. So if the EFCC has good grounds, good evidences, it will be very difficult for the judge to overrule that, don't you think?
I'm not saying the EFCC, like I said, I'm not saying they are 100% perfect. But even in some cases, if you are in court, it will be so obvious to you that these people are not in the...
All right, Ahmed, are you still there? All right, we seem to have lost the line in there, but we'll get him back to make his contribution. Now, let's bring in Foladele in here to give us a reaction of Nigerians on social media as far as this is concerned. Yeah, Fola, good morning. Good morning.
And morning to Abbas as well.
Did you hear what I call you?
No.
I said FF, good morning.
FF. Good morning, B. Now, you know, Mike, when you both were mentioning the names of the governors and the states, I was going over the states and capital in my head, and I was trying to see if there was maybe any states that was left out, and only a few were left out. There were a lot of states that were mentioned, and you would see from some of these tweets that people made mention of that. All right, let's check some of these tweets out. First one here from Diamond Femi. When are we going to start revolution in Nigeria? I mean the youths. We should start from National Assembly and then to ex-governors, etc. Mr. Babagana says, federal government is set to reopen corruption cases against some ex-governors in Nigeria. Trouble again. Oshunaya Femi Taiwo says, 30 ex-governors charged with corruption cases. How many states do we have in Nigeria? Who shall deliver us from these enemies within? Ha. Bayo Oladeji says, Nigeria's EFCC is so busy probing former governors of the opposition PDP to put the same, and they're forgetting to put the same searchlight on the ruling APC. The change has come. And the last one here from Ogulewe Chiedozie, he says, EFCC begins investigation of ex-governors, politicians in South-South. Please, is South-South the only place we have corrupt ex-governors? What do you make of that? I really want your reaction to that last tweet. Do you think there's a focus on a particular region over another? Do you think there's a focus on a particular party of ex-governors over another?
There's a focus on party more than another, not region. I don't think it's a region.
Okay, so you're saying it's selective. The fight is selective right now.
It's selective.
Okay.
It's selective. Although I don't, even though it's selective, let them work. Let there be scapegoats. I think that will help us. If you realize that one governor was convicted, even after spending 8 years in office and amassing billions, he was still convicted and sent to jail, the next person will be careful.
Yeah, but we've seen the issue, like just you mentioned that, we've seen the issue of James Ibori, who is facing trial in London. But the point there is his tenure, or sorry, his days of being in prison, when it comes to an end, so many of his kins are ready to give him a heroic welcome back in Nigeria. So how does that deter others from
I think that's one of the major problems. We keep on talking judiciary, legislature. I think we have to talk about orientation. Our orientation is bad. Some are talking about youth. I can tell you, with due respect, youth today have imbibed the culture of just get the money. You don't care how you get it. I used to tell people, when I was growing up in my village, if you leave that village within 2 or 3 months and you come back with a car, people will be running away from you, except they know maybe you are a graduate, got employment, and they gave you car loan. But that you just get a car and you have some money, in fact, they will run away from you and stigmatize your family that you are an armed robber. And that orientation is gone. Now you get your money anyhow.
In your part of the divide.
That's the problem we're having.
All right. Now, Fola, I think
It's a general problem.
you've done justice to your
Yes,
question
I
in
have.
there. Thank you.
Thank you.
All right. Now, Ahmed, let me ask you this before you go. We have seen lots and lots of injunctions of all kinds from courts. Now, when it comes to taking injunction, every governor, whether you are accused or not, as a citizen, you have the right to get an injunction from any court. But when it comes to a corrupt case, from what you were saying earlier on, is it that the court shouldn't give or grant any injunction when a corrupt allegation is placed against anyone? Can you give us a clarification of that before you leave?
Hello?
Yeah, Ahmed, can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay.
There are provisions for application for all manner of issues under trial. But what I'm saying is this: number one, the lawyers, some members of the bar are abusing it.
All right, we seem to have network issues there with
think we have
from
to just
where.
thank him
Yeah,
now.
well, we thank you, Ahmed, for making contributions on the program. We hope to have you again next time because we're against time and we need to just dwell on this a little bit. Now, Ademola, when it comes to this issue of injunction, I'd like you to respond to that.
Thank you very much. I think in criminal cases, the first issue is bail, not even injunction.
Okay.
You only go for injunction in criminal cases. You get bail, and you are entitled to bail. Most of the charges, by law, they are entitled to bail.
Dasuki's case has proved otherwise.
He has been granted bail.
But he wasn't allowed to
The
leave.
federal government was simply disobeying the order.
Okay, so maybe that's where maybe some of them are also afraid that if that is the case, they might not be granted bail. Is that the case of perversion that's going on in the country?
To me, I think that is the case of, I think the executives are not just realizing it. You are not doing us good by not obeying court order. You cannot disobey court order and at the same time be condemning the judiciary. There are three different arms. You have roles to play. And as I was coming, I was just thinking, people keep on saying judiciary, etc. And I want to read them. If you talk about the most corrupt arm, it's executive, followed by legislator, followed by the judiciary. It's easy for you to just bribe an executive person. Easy to bribe legislator. It's not easy to bribe a judiciary person, a judge. It's either you have a link or contact. You can't just go to a judge and say, this is my case, take something. So on the issue of injunction is not a common thing in bail, but some have gone to court restraining court from trying on certain issues. They have ground. As it is a technical ground, if then the prosecuting department of the state need to wake up. Because I practice. We look for loopholes. We look for technicalities. If you are looking for it, I look for it too. If I'm prosecuting, I should anticipate what you will do. For the fact that somebody is corrupt doesn't mean he's not entitled to fair hearing or should not be treated like any other person, any other criminal.
But in the minds of Nigerians, from where they reason from is,
Yes.
if there's an allegation against you that you were corrupt, you stole this money, or if it's money laundering or whatever it is as the case may be, if it is not true, and you are saying it is not true, all the allegations are false, it's a product of perpetrators, others who want to persecute me and all of that. If it is the case, why not open your arms and go to court?
But
As far as you know, your hands are clean. That's where Nigerians are seeing
as
you
far
from.
as I know, you have no right to say I will not go to court. It's left for the prosecutor to ensure that they take you to court.
But by the reason of an injunction, you are saying I
it's
should not be
scarce.
prosecuted.
I can only remember, I think, Kanu or something. Recently, that injunction has been lifted.
I think at the
One
end
or
of
two
the,
of them.
they stay
And there
action
must be a
on
very good reason.
investigation.
You can't get
Really,
injunction.
before it gets to-
You can't easily get injunction preventing
You
the
from being
government
prosecuted.
from being prosecuted.
You can stay an action, an investigation on a matter.
If you are staying in action, maybe you have an appeal.
Yeah.
And you are still proceeding, pending the termination of that appeal.
Yeah.
That means we ought to wake up. The judiciary need to wake up in terms of speed. They are so slow. And the corruption we are talking about starts from appointment.
Okay.
That's my own gross. It starts from appointment.
Yeah, you
when you
made
start
mention-
appointing mediocres, people are not in practice. People who use human beings to do practice. People's destiny to practice. You don't know anything about procedure and they make you a judge. The next 5 years, you are still learning. And some people will die or go to jail on the basis of your inability.
So back to the appointment, where does that come from?
That
From the executive. Now, my
executive
question.
are part of it.
Indeed. Okay, so some of these governors who have been alleged to be corrupt, some of the issues that they've raised, for instance, the Kalu in Abia State, there was the issue of diversion in collusion with some civil servants.
Yes.
So it's not possible for these governors and or whoever steals money without the connivance of the civil servant. What do you make of that?
They are the masters. When it comes to it's the civil servant. I have friends that are in top civil service position. It is the civil servant that even showed them the way. You don't just come and understand the intricacies.
The workings of a system over time.
They will even tell you, I have a friend who was maybe in local government and say, sometimes he will say, Oga, you need to go for seminar. They will create seminar that I will not go for and bring money to him. And it's still happening. It's still happening. I think the whole structure, the whole system is in a mess.
All right, but as it is right now, you mentioned earlier on that because when I asked you how do you think this is going to be, or how difficult this is, you said if the government has a will.
It's not difficult.
All right, now that brings us back to the case in question right now.
Yes.
If there's a move to prosecute ex-governors who have allegations against them, as the case may be, as it is right now, from where we are right now, do you think government has the will to want to go back into these cases?
I'm not sure they have the will. From what I've been seeing, we are playing politics as if we are still campaigning, more than even thinking about prosecuting. You don't need to make noise. Investigate them silently and bring them out and prosecute. Before they know, when you have the overwhelming evidence, there is no way they can run away from jail. If there's overwhelming evidence, you will prosecute and you will convict. You will convict. But you don't have to start making noise. You want to go. You are telling me you want to go back to me and I have money stuck in my house. I will go and remove it. You don't need to tell the public that you want to go and prosecute them. You finish all the plans, investigation, then you move in. See what happened to the judges? They move in. There was not, if it was be on the page of your newspaper, but people got the hint that they are coming. You won't meet any money in anybody's house.
Allegedly that they met money there.
No, it's not even it's difficult to convict the court that even that money, they already deny that some of them brought the money to their house.
That's the NJC, their words against the DSS.
Yes.
As far as we were in there, we cannot say it is true or it is not true. But the point there is the DSS said they found money.
Yeah, the accused person said it's not my money.
Monies were planted.
Planted or exaggerated, that the amounts were exaggerated.
Exactly.
All right.
But there were reports some monies were found. But
however, finding money is not an offense.
Yeah, it depends on the quantum or volume of money, because there's an amount of money.
But it's not an offense.
Yeah, but there's an amount of money that will be found that will be an offense.
The amount of money, you cannot be talking about money laundering.
I know, but the
you
point is,
can't even talk about bribery or corruption if you don't have your link. That means you ought to carry out serious investigation.
All right, we have to
Maybe that was why there was a raid in the first place to take some people out.
We have to go.
But thank you very much, Ademola Kundayo, for joining us on the program.
Thank you.
All right, this is where we come to the end of today's edition of the program. Tomorrow is another day for us to dwell on other issues concerning Nigeria and Nigerians. I am Mike Okwoche. Bye for now.
And I'm Busola Mituanshi. I'm going on leave, so
yeah, you're going on leave, but we're going to
miss
you on the program. But it's fine. It's all right.
Bye.
Happy vacation.
Yeah.